This is Mystery Meat's Fine Dining Podcast, helping foodies discover new restaurants and new friends. Here's your host, the founder of Mystery Meat, Seth Ressler.
Hello, and welcome to the Fine Dining Podcast. My name is Seth Ressler, and I'm really excited. We have Nicole Spaziano of I Am a Honeybee, food blog out of Boston, and she's going to talk to us about her great restaurant recommendation today. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. I'm glad to be able to talk with you.
Before we get to your restaurant recommendation, I'm really excited. I want to talk a little bit about you and your blog. How did you start blogging?
I started a couple years ago. It was sort of just a fun outlet to, a little dumping ground of my ideas and recipes I was making and whatever little crafty projects I was doing. I'm an architectural designer, so I love to create things, whether, it's a scrapbook or a meal. I just kind of feel like that's natural for me. So I started to blog about these things, and since then it's kind of evolved into like a cooking and creating and a travel blog as I kind of link it all together and have fun.
And how long have you been doing this now?
I think 3 years now.
What have you seen in the time that you've been blogging? I mean, has blogging opened up new doors or led you down new paths?
Actually, it has. I've met a lot of great people doing it. I traveled to Colorado to hang out with someone for, a weekend. So I think it's all about sort of sharing your story and making connections, and that's the best part.
And is there a particular focus of your blog? I mean, is there something that you write about more than others?
I do tend to write about cooking more than anything else. It's a big passion of mine. But it's a three-prong approach of creating. So I might have like a little craft on there or scrapbooking, cooking, whether I make someone else's recipe or create some of my own. I love to share that. And traveling. I love to travel. I wish I could do it more often. Love to get around New England and share what I see with everyone else.
When you cook or when you go to a restaurant, what kind of food do you like? What do you look for?
I love to kind of try something local, something fresh. I love big salads and fresh meat, so it's a little bit of everything. I'm Italian, so I do love my pastas, but I'm open for a little bit of everything.
Well, I came to you and I asked you for a restaurant recommendation. Let's talk about yours. What'd you recommend?
I recommended to you the Tip Tap Room. It's here in Boston, and it just opened up.
What neighborhood is that in?
It's at 138 Cambridge Street. So in Boston, there are all these different neighborhoods, and it's right on the border of Beacon Hill, which is mainly a residential neighborhood. It's really, really old, but as the city's, repurposed itself and grown over time, now the business districts butt up against it. And in fact, MGH is like right down the street. So it's a very busy area.
And tell me about the chef there.
His name is Brian Poe, and he actually has another restaurant in town called the Rattlesnake, maybe a mile or so from this other location.
You've been familiar with him over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, I actually have. I've gotten to know him. I've taken a class taught by him at the Boston Center for Adult Education, which I think is a great place to visit and take some, fun classes. And I actually won a blind margarita contest there that was featured on their menu for a year. And, over time, just gotten to know him and was really looking forward to this place opening.
No, wait a minute. Tell me about this margarita contest.
2 years ago, it was the Rattlesnake's 20th anniversary. So they're not yet legal, but they were celebrating it with a margarita because the Rattlesnake is Southwest, Tex-Mex sort of place, a lot of fusion in there. But there was a margarita contest, and I won with a cranberry ginger margarita.
Nice. And they featured it on the menu? That's fantastic.
They did. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Went to the big party, and I was the drink that getting passed around.
So Brian Poe was at the Rattlesnake Bar. They brought him in, and he actually revamped that menu there, right?
He did. A lot of people knew the Rattlesnake is a great bar because it has this roof deck, and that's kind of hard to come by in Boston. So it was like a great summertime place, but you went there for the roof deck and, a beer or margarita. But now people are actually going for the food.
And then June of this year, he opens up the Tip Tap Room.
Yeah, it's his spin on, New England classic steak tips. That's what inspired him to take this on and make it his own.
And so that's the idea behind the name, right?
Yes, exactly. So there's your steak tips, your tip, and the tap is your beer tap. So it's the Tip Tap Room, and they feature a lot of, great inventive dishes and plenty of great beers.
I actually didn't know this until I did some research. Steak tips, that's a term that is mostly heard in Massachusetts. It's actually not something that they know of outside of the Northeast.
Yeah. It's kind of, I feel like it's local pub food. It's just sort of comforting to have, and you can't go wrong with some steak and mashed potatoes.
So explain for people who, live outside the area, what exactly is a tip?
To me, it's, a great, flavorful, marinated piece of meat. 2 bites maybe. So it's, if you were to have, for example, like a tenderloin and cut it up, they throw it on the grill, get some great char on there, and, they serve it with your favorite sides, like mashed potatoes.
And the Tip Tap Room is doing more than just steak tips, right? They're doing other meats as well?
Oh, absolutely. They have turkey tips and swordfish, and they have wild game. So there's plenty of different options there.
You walk into this place, what's the decor like?
Really comforting. I have an architectural background, degree in architecture. I do this all day long, so I sort of see this place and I see what they're going for with these nice, rich woods. And it's very welcoming because the whole front facade are these really big garage doors that actually open. So it's fantastic now in the summer. You walk by, it's so inviting. You hear all this noise and, it kind of really draws you in as opposed to another bar that's really closed up, only has a window or two. This is really, makes you feel like you're sitting on a patio right there on the street.
So on a nice summer day, this is a great place to go, after work.
Definitely. I've been there on like a Tuesday night, and Tuesday's not such a big going out night compared to Thursday or Friday, and it was like wall-to-wall people. Everyone's excited for it to open and, enjoying the summer nights with nice breeze right there.
And is there an appetizer that you recommend?
I have been enjoying the rock shrimp appetizer. It's actually a shrimp that is coated in shredded phyllo that's fried, and it's served with a chili sauce. It just goes together so well between the flavors and the textures and the crunch of the cucumber that's served with it. It's my must-have.
And then when it comes to the main dish, what should I be ordering?
You have to go with a steak tip. I mean, he has such great inventive flavors, but there's just something so refreshing about having steak in the summer as well. I don't have to go home and fire up the grill myself. So we've had that, and we've also had the steak tip burger, which is a spin on that. So it's just the ground up steak tip. It's a very rich, succulent burger because of it. You can't go wrong. And it comes with horseradish mashed potatoes.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And if you don't even like horseradish, definitely get the cream corn mashed potatoes or the goat cheese mashed potatoes.
So these sound like some pretty inventive mashed potatoes that we got going on here.
Everything that is there has a little spin and, kicked up a notch.
And what about dessert?
The one thing I definitely think you should get is the peach tip cobbler. It's a cobbler with, a kind of a crunchy topping, not like a biscuit one, but it's served with a caramel sauce and their homemade strawberry ice cream.
So tell me about the beer list. I mean, it's pretty extensive there.
There's everything from, Harpoon and Sam Summer, which are Massachusetts-based beer companies, to Dogfish and Boddington's, which is an English beer. And, of course, they have their Belgian beers. I mean, there's so many different options.
And I know that's what you like. You like the Belgian wheats, right?
I do. I love Belgian beer. I mean, nice, refreshing, light beer on a hot night.
Yeah, especially in the summer.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Well, let's play a little game, shall we?
All right.
You sound nervous.
Do I get to win? I hope I win.
Yes, if you win, we are going to feature you in an upcoming episode of the Fine Dining Podcast.
Oh, perfect.
How exciting is that? Here's how it works. This is called Out of the Frying Pan. I'm going to ask you for restaurant recommendations or other recommendations, and we're going to put 53 seconds on the clock in honor of Sir Edmund Hillary, and just name the first thing that comes to mind, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready?
I think so.
What is your favorite restaurant for a night out with the girls?
Oh, man, a night out with the girls. I love bars. I just went to the Vault and had some great drinks there. It's in the financial district in Liberty Square.
What do you think is the most underrated restaurant in Boston?
I know it's not necessarily underrated, but we love Forum, which is on Boylston Street, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about it or don't, give it a lot of time of day. They think maybe it's too fancy. And go there, have a drink, have an appetizer, and, give it a try.
What is your favorite restaurant to take out-of-town guests to?
The Rattlesnake. I love taking everyone there.
Where is your favorite place to eat on a budget?
I think Boloco's a really great place. It's a Boston-based business. It serves great burritos and wraps and smoothies. It's a lot of healthy options, and you can get a great meal for maybe $6-7.
Finally, where is your favorite place for a business lunch?
There's Zen Sushi, which is right up the road from me. I work at One Beacon, and it's right on Beacon Street, so it's, a 2-minute walk, and you can't resist some sushi at lunch, especially when someone else is picking up the tab.
All right, congratulations. You've won. We are going to feature you in a podcast. Are you excited about that?
Fantastic. Great.
That wasn't that hard, was it?
No, definitely not.
All right, so people can find the Tip Tap Room online by going to the tiptaproom.com, and it's at 138 Cambridge Street. What about you? If people want to read your blog or follow you on social media, how can they do that?
I am at IamAhoneybee.com, so www.IamAhoneybee.com. My Twitter handle is the same. Basically, you can find me, Google me through I Am a Honeybee, and it's the best way to connect with me.
And if you want to find any of the links mentioned in this podcast, you can just go to mysterymeat.org/podcast. While you're there, you can actually sign up for the Mystery Meat events that we have in Boston. And if you like this podcast, do us a favor, go into iTunes and just, give us a rating. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your restaurant recommendation.
Thank you.
This has been Mystery Meat's Fine Dining Podcast. You can find links to the websites mentioned in this episode at mysterymeat.org/podcast. Thank you for listening.